Tonight, we have an amazing special guest. I'm really excited to sit down with him. You guys may know him from some of the most funny movies, some of the most romantic movies, such like Happy Gilmore, Rumor Has It, and my all-time favorite, Thelma and Louise. Today, we are going to be talking with Christopher McDonald. Christopher, thank you so much for sitting with us tonight. Thank you for taking the time out. Thank you for just letting us into who you are and taking this time with us. How are you tonight?
I'm quite good, thank you. I'm a little bit confused. I've never done this before, but hi, girls. Do I push like continue now here or something? It says the webinar is being recorded. Continue, I guess. That's on my screen.
I don't think you have to do anything on your end. So.
Right.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine on that. But yeah, so I'm excited to sit with you. There's so much stuff, as you know, I've grew up on watching a lot of your movies. Some of my favorites, as I said, was the Thelma and Louise. I don't know how you get so much on Happy Gilmore, but I know that's your biggest one. I know you get stopped a lot when it comes to that. But I want to go back a little bit from the beginning and see how you even got in this business. I know from looking at some of the things that I found online, the great internet, that you were going to school to become a dentist. So you're in school to be a dentist. Yeah. How are you now an actor and such a big one?
Well, thank you, first of all. But I was going to be a dentist. I'm a middle of 7 children, and we're all, Irish Catholics. And I was the first one, went to a 4-year school. And so it was I'm right in the middle. And my mom and dad really I had good grades and really wanted a dentist in the family because, they get older and they want their teeth done for free. Anyway, so I was doing that when I was so bored. And so my grades were good. I was playing football. I was very active in the college and everything, but man, I didn't like it at all. And then I said, well, if I have to be in the labs for 4 hours a day and, do all that competitive stuff, I got to find something else. And I went to the theater department and met these people, read a little thing. And they said, yeah, we'll use you. And I started acting in many plays and I just loved it. And I thought, wow, this is really interesting. So my junior year comes around and I go on the first overseas program from my alma mater, which is Hobart College, upstate New York, Hobart William Smith. And we go over to London and I discover the West End, some of the greatest actors in the world out of England, doing Shakespeare, doing, classics, doing modern pieces. And I was blown away and said, yep, that is what I want to do. I can do that. And it's been like every actor's career is up and down and up and down, up and down. But I have had a great work ethic that I got from my parents. And they were not very happy when I told them I wasn't going to be a dentist anymore. But they sort of came around big time when they saw the success I was getting at such an early age. So that was good. And but it's a tough road, so right. Competitive, and so that's why I embrace playing the bad guy. Because, I'm 6'3", and I'm not going to play opposite, Dustin Hoffman or Al Pacino anytime soon because they're right come up the middle of my shoulder. So I figure I'll use my size and I'll play that. But the comedic bad guy, that's what's really fun to play. So.
And you play a lot of that. And we're going to touch on that. But going back to when you said your parents weren't happy about that, both of your parents were educators. Your mom was a professor. Your dad, I believe, was a professor as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he was a principal of the local high school, and he taught.
Okay, he was principal. And your mom was also a real estate agent. So she's about her business. They're both about education. And they wanted you to be this dentist, and you went in a completely different way. So you said that they kind of broke down after they saw the success, but was it really hard for them? Because not just you, but your brother was actually an actor as well. So to have two kids.
Listen, my parents love the arts. They're educators first, but they are also love theater. My father directed every musical at the high school I lived, this tiny little town in Romulus, New York. My mother made the costumes, and we were all in it. But I was the one that was sitting in the pit band because I was a very good trumpet player and said, no, we can't have you on stage. We need you in the band. So I went, oh, great. Okay. So I can, we did Guys and Dolls. I can still remember every lick I did as a trumpet player in that thing. And then watching my little brothers and sisters doing their thing is stealing the show. So anyway, yeah, it's in my family. It's in our blood. So it was a shock at the same time. It was like, okay, we get it. we can't blame him. My dad started out as an actor, and 7 kids later, he goes, "Okay, maybe you better look into something else here because it is a hit and miss business. It's a roller coaster. You just go up and down, and you can't have any kind of consistency with that. With acting, because you're not in control. You can't do it by yourself, really, unless you do one-man shows, and that's going to last only so long. So they sort of embraced it. They came as my first couple of shows. I never forget the first show they came to. I was in Boston right out of college. I don't know why I went to Boston, but I didn't want to go to New York City yet. I didn't want to get, I wasn't ready. And I ended up at a theater there. I was working as a waiter at the Top of the Hub. It's a very famous restaurant that revolves, and it's the highest point in Boston. It's gloriously beautiful. And I basically talked my way into being the sommelier, talking about wines, basically pulling it out of my derriere. I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. It was before Google. So I would go into encyclopedias and look like, oh, that wine's from Loire. What the hell is that? Oh, it's in France, of course. Okay. So, you drop some of these names and people, and then the maitre d' noticed I was doing that and said, "You are very good at this. Would you like to be our sommelier?" And I went, "Great." And then I said, "This is not what I want to do either. It's fun. I mean, I'm making good money and everything." But so there was this little play that was coming out of Broadway. It won the Obie Award off Broadway, and they were having replacements. The night I saw it, I was like, "Oh my God, I can do that." So literally 5 auditions later, I get in this production. And it was out there. It was crazy. Elizabeth Swathouse's Nightclub Cantata, where we were like acting like birds, acting like crazy, then singing a ballad song and all dressed in these little. Anyway, it was a complete blast for me. But they were watching it going, "What the heck is going on here?" It was just, it's a different thing. So, but that play took me to Los Angeles, and that's where I had to bloom where I was planted. But I'll tell you the greatest thing that happened to me. I'm in upstate New York after I finished my first 2 places where we did the plays, and I told my friends, I'm going to Hollywood. I'm gonna go out there and do a play and stick around and see if I can do it. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember the person's name, but he just rasped me, "Going for Hollywood, huh? Okay. See you in 6 months, big shot."
Wow.
And that motivation has stayed with me all that time. And I went, "Oh, really? Okay. We'll see. Watch me."
Statement. That's crazy.
It's a great motivator. Just because they're still living in the town. They have their life and everything like that. But I come back from time to time. I love coming to my hometown, and it's got to eat a little crow every time I'm there. I went, "Oh, there it is."
Well, do you still see them even when you go back? You still have?
I didn't know. I mean, I know I see my group. I don't know exactly who said it, but I see my boys, and there's a mutual respect club, so it's all good. Yeah.
So you started in theater, and I know you've done some Broadway, and you've done films. What do you like more? Do you like the Broadway, or do you like TV and film more?
Well, there's something about Broadway and live theater and having a new member of the audience. I mean, a new member on the cast. I mean, I just call the audience that is magic, and the cast becomes a family. You're all there to tell this great story and all of its machinations on Broadway. I've done 3, and my little brother we mentioned earlier, Daniel, that he followed me into this business. He won great roles and lead parts and stuff. He was so talented, so funny. He's no longer with us, God love him, but he was nominated for a Tony. Wow. For Best Actor. He had all kinds of skills, but he was taken too soon in this crazy life of ours, and I miss him every day. But my parents would be the kind of people that would say, "Well, you're doing so well out in Hollywood. You get another big movie or something. Maybe you could do Broadway." I went, "Okay." Okay.
I love it.
It's always kind of been like that. It's just kind of very funny. But they love the theater. They go all the time. They took us as kids all the time. We grew up in Long Island, and so it was beautiful to go and get your mind blown by the spectacle of Broadway. So I'm glad it's back now. Thank God.
Yeah, that they're in production. Yeah, my daughter definitely wants to go to New York to see something. So I might.
Oh, yeah, it's back, and let's hope this new thing doesn't come and.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, yes, Broadway, and not even Broadway, just doing plays makes you just bond like crazy. And that is a given. When you're doing movies or television, it's short-lived. Unless you're doing a whole season with somebody, like I've done many series, that's like a family also. It's great fun. And it also has those rivalries and things like that going on in it, unfortunately, but that's the way it is. And then there's movies where you're in and out in 4 months and you kind of go, oh,
Mm,
I hope I see, let's stay pals, that kind of thing. But then one thing or another, they get busy, you get busy, and
right.
that kind of stuff. It's like an extended family, but it is a little bit more difficult to keep in touch with these people because they're always all around the world. So, and I'm
Now,
guilty of that myself. So I kind of get it.
right. Now you studied with Stella Adler, who is like an icon in her own right. I mean, the way that she teaches and just the students that have come from her teaching. So that's a great thing to have on your resume as it is. But when it comes to your acting, how do you prepare for a role? Are you more of a method actor? Are you more of a wing it type of actor? I mean, coming from her, I know she's very, particular, but did you take a lot of those traits on?
I was neither method nor winged it. I
Okay.
was the one who did a lot of research. I knew what I was talking about. I knew about from the teaching of Stella Adler. It's 99% is your imagination. The truth of your art is in your imagination. So you you don't find yourself falling into these terrible little nooks and crannies. Oh, I can't wait there. I wouldn't do that. My character wouldn't say that. You can't go there. You got to tell the story.
Yeah.
And many of the crazy things I had to say over the years, I have thanked Stella Adler many times for giving me that courage to not judge it. Never judge what you're playing. You're telling a story. Fill that part. And she changed my life so much that I left Hollywood after doing a couple of, I did Grease 2 and I did, Where the Boys Are 84, and I did a few things like that. And I was like, okay, this is not gonna do it. So I found her in her summer program, just fell in love, just said, wow, this is a life lesson right here that she's giving. She was so brilliant. And I followed her to New York City and studied it with her there until the point where I said, I'm so broke, I can't not take your class, but is there anything I could do to barter? And she said, do you have a car? And I said, yes, I do. It's a nice car. Yes, it's a nice car. She said, good. You'll drive me to my hairdresser. You'll come, can you bartend? I said, absolutely. And so I was at these parties where all the hoi polloi of New York at the time were visiting Stella Adler on her Fifth Avenue 10-room apartment. And I'm thinking, oh my God. And she said, you never speak unless you're spoken to. But at the end of that night, and they're all in their cups a little bit, she'd bring us out and she'd some of my students and we'd talk. And it was just one of those wow moments. So that was crazy. Then I followed her back out to Los Angeles, did the same thing there. And I sort of were taking jobs on the side, but nothing that would interfere with my classes on Wednesdays and Friday nights. So, and driving Stella and doing whatever I needed to do there. So I just really enjoyed the heck out of it. And it was a godsend that I found her at the time that I did. And
Yeah, she's definitely a legend.
She's a legend. She's taught so many brilliant actors. Her biggest, of course, is Marlon Brando, and just the people. I mean, I was in class. I'm looking down there. It's Bobby De Niro's in her lecture class, right there, Bobby.
That's cool.
Like that, everybody came to her that knew that she had so much to offer and so much to give and to inspire us with. So she was loved and is loved to this day.
Yes, definitely. I have a question from Tracy from Facebook. She wanted to know if you and your brother would put on shows for fun at all for friends or family when you guys were young.
Oh yeah, we had some fun. We would do crazy things, and we were all shameless performers, with no technique, but it's a lot of chutzpah, a lot of just no ego involved, and just trying to crack each other up. So we do that quite often. We had quite a few laughs, and we would always try to one up each other, which is like crazy. The crazy competition you have as a family. And my sister Mary too, as well, very, very bright, still sings in musicals now. And brother Casey's got a glorious voice. And he's in real estate also, followed my mother in real estate, but he's got a spectacular voice. And so, yes, we're still pretty much into it, but yes, we do that quite young. And then he followed me out to Hollywood, and then he got taken. He didn't find the success he wanted here, and he went back to New York and found everything in spades. So it was just meant to be, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. You kind of opened the door for your family to follow in those footsteps and let that creative side flow.
Yeah, exactly. It was nice.
What would be your dream role? I mean, I know you love Shooter McGavin. I've seen your interviews. I know that I don't know if any of you guys know that out there, but in the movie, when he does that, after he makes it in there, that was yours, right? You kind of did that after a shot and they kept it.
Exactly. I had no idea why they called the guy shooter. I said, why does he do? He had a great drive. No, that's what Gilmore does. I know he'll be a great putter and he'll just those guns. Choke on that, baby. And they said, that's great. Leave it in. That's good. We're doing that. So every time I would get they would say the script would read, shooter, this is a 12-foot putt. Happy makes a 30-foot putt. And I try to miss it. And the best way to try to miss it, of course, is try to make it. Then it lips out and it looks great. But they kept going in. I'll say, sorry, guys, I'll do it again. And then they had it on film. They went, it's really great when shooter is such an excellent putter. I mean, he gets flustered and everything, but he's still under pressure. He still puts it in, and it raises the stakes. So they left it in like that. But that was so much fun that I did that. I just think divine inspiration there. I mean, yeah, and it's everybody I meet on the streets to this day, 25 years later, it's like, shooter!
And it's a hilarious movie. I mean, I just saw it the other day, just refreshing it, and it is just from the beginning to the end, you just can't help but laugh.
That's true. A lot of people say they can catch that movie even in the middle or 3/4 through or in the beginning, and they'll watch it all the way through just because it's got some laughs.
What was your
good writing and Adam Sandler's going to say again?
What was your favorite role to play? Like out of everything, out of all your movies, what's one that's made an impact for you that you're like, I really enjoyed that character, that role?
Well, when you answer a question like that, you got to think of so many of the ones they're like your children in a lot of ways. I mean, not to like. If it responds, there are a lot of great movies I did that not many people saw, but there are the two that I think that are really stand out is Daryl and Thelma and Louise with somebody named Brad Pitt. I don't know. He never went anywhere, but working opposite Brad and working opposite Harvey Keitel and Gina Davis and oh my God, the most wonderful director, Ridley Scott. If any of you are actors out there and you want to work and see great work, go look at Ridley Scott's oeuvre. It's unbelievable. His work is, he never repeats himself. He's a genius, a visual genius, and also a joy to work with. So I would say that part lifted me up, and it was very competitive trying to get that part. But
so if I could just stop, you were so good in Thelma and Louise. I've never disliked a husband more. I was like, she needs to really just not come back. Go do you. Amazing.
Funny. She either had to drive over a cliff or go back to her husband.
Or go back to her husband.
So give me carte blanche to be a total jerk. So
right. You made it happen. You hit it on the nail with that one.
Thank you. Yeah. That was such a great movie, and it changed the landscape of movies in a lot of ways. Not as much as the ladies would like, but it was it wasn't a feminist movie. It was just two girls that usually take the role that two men usually do, a road trip, get gangster. I mean, pulling off some crimes along the road. It was just, and Callie Corey wrote that, and she won the Oscar very deservedly. And it was one draft. She never had to rewrite anything.
Wow.
And she took it to a lot of directors, and she finally got to Ridley, and Ridley says, well, darling, I don't think I'm going to change the ending. And she went, well, that's the first. Keep talking, because everybody thought, nah, they can't die, they can't go over the cliff. But anyway, that movie still holds up. It's a visual feast, as well as brilliant performances by so many people, and I'm delighted to be part of that. And the same thing goes for my other favorite, which was not long after that, about 3 years later, I did Quiz Show with Robert Redford. And I went in, and I didn't want to go to the audition because I was working on another show, and my manager said, just go in and do it. Go in early. We'll get her at 8 o'clock. All right, I'll go. And he said, right when he looked at it, he said, that's the guy right there. That's the guy. But he wasn't, he wasn't sure. And so they said, he's going back to New York. And I went, I got to see him again. So they said, well, if you can get yourself to New York. So I got myself to New York. And then I went in and waited for Bob. He's call him Bob. We're like this. Yeah, I mean, so anyway, Bob, Mr. Redford, couldn't have been cooler. He didn't even audition me. He said, come on in, let's just talk. And we just talked for 25 minutes. And he said, you got the part. I mean, you're a Barry. And I was, wow. And then again, to answer your earlier question, I did everything I could find out about Jack Barry. And he was very much caught up in this big scandal. And he went away for a long time, and he came back with Joker's Wild. Joker. So he was really in that business. It was, Barry and Enright. and they were big deals. And you just changed the whole innocence of America. Talk about people who think things are fixed now. That happened in 1960, whatever one or whatever it was, and you could shoot a cannon down on the Thursday night at 7:30 and not hit anybody because everyone was watching that show. It was the most exciting, it was a drug for a lot of people. So the great storytelling, great writing, and boy, Ray Fiennes and I became very, very close, and John Turturro, and just, wow. They're just brilliant people. And that one I'll always keep in my top three right there, because it was kind of a life changer. I never forget going to the premiere with my parents, and you're in Madison Square Garden in New York, and you're just going, this is the best.
Wow, I can imagine.
Camera work, and it was sort of my father living through me, because that's exactly where we wanted to go. And it was his period. It took place in the 60s when he was out there trying.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's really neat for him to see that come through to you, through you.
And it was, I felt terrific about it. And he just, he was, well, whatever father wants to be proud of his son, I certainly felt that in spades from him. So that was nice.
Now, Christopher, you've been a part of culture. I mean, in doing some of these, looking at all the stuff you've done, I didn't even realize you were in breaking.
Classic.
Oh, classic, right? Like you've been in Rumor Has It, which again, being from Pasadena, I love this city, and you don't realize how much, it is a little town of its own. Yeah. But you've been in some amazing films. And, I was watching a movie the other day, and my daughter had this movie on Disney. Like, you've been on everything, and you've actually come up with culture. So I don't think people really understand how much you've left a mark in this industry and what you've had your hand in, and you've done it all. So some of these roles, yes, you play the villain. And I've heard you say many times that you love being the bad guy, you love being the villain, but I don't know if you've answered the question for me on what would be your dream role. And is it being a villain? Is it being a villain on Marvel? Is it being the good guy? What is the dream role for you?
I've been asked that a few times over my career, and I usually say, whatever Tom Hanks turns down. Because, he's got such a wonderful career, and he gets these wonderful, heartwarming parts. I think I've done my share of villainous work, and I enjoy it because every story needs one. If you don't have that kind of counterpart there to the hero, then you have no contention. You have no it's just going to sit a little flat. So the better the villain is, the more it lifts up the hero to overcome that. And I kind of got that early on, and I thought, okay, that's good. And then I like doing the comedic part of the villains, because you can have more of a carte blanche there. But I've certainly played Russian spies with James Gandolfini, and I've done so many of those things. But having done this little bit of the romantic thing in Hacks this recent, I think is why everyone's really, there's a little uptick. Being on a hit show, wow, it's people would ask me, so what do you want to do next? I want to do a hit. I'd like to do a hit, please, because it's life-changing. It truly is. The more eyes are on the prize. You're working with really brilliant people like Gene Smart and Hannah Einbinder, and the writers are so brilliant. Paul W. Downs and his wife Lucia. Wow, great writing, really fun to do. And then you kind of like, the most impact you have on people is through emotion. And as you play bad guys, there's not a lot of emotion there, unless he's got a real strong written into the part. The fact that he's doing it because he's fighting for his daughter's life or something like that. We've seen that many times. So he's like the anti-hero kind of a thing. But that's kind of stuff I'd like to do. Or even just play the romantic lead. I did it once in Chances Are with Sybil Shepherd. Kind of loved that. It was great, but I died on page 22. So there it is. Came back as Robert Downey. So, yeah.
Well, speaking of Hacks, though, with the new season, the season just ended. Does Marty and Deborah fall in love? Can you tell us that?
I'd love to, but I'd have to kill you. These are keep under wraps.
I don't know. I'm feeling something happened there. I mean, I know you guys love to hate each other, but there's something underneath that.
There is. We've got a little bit of a history going on, and it's season 2 is starting right up now. After she won the Emmy, and the show got best comedy, and it's heady times, believe me. So
it's great.
It was fantastic. and they get on the road this year, but I don't know what's going to happen. I've heard rumors, and I literally, if I did know, I couldn't tell you. But I'll just let you know, it's just going to be as juicy as hopefully the sophomore year will be as juicy as the first year was, because man, even the show's episodes I wasn't in, there was like 2 that I wasn't in. I would just sit there and go, "What a show!"
Right.
It's
Yeah.
so, and I love the fact that people really responded to it.
Yeah.
And and it's just been a real shot in the arm for everybody in the show, because it's just it's got that kind of following. People, no, you've seen Hacks, and oh my god, I love surprising people. Go, and I'm watching, and then you pop up. My friend.
No, it's
us, and I've done a lot of different things because I like to surprise people. Like, and then I get these texts and with the picture, and it's so funny.
Yeah,
anyway, it's
a fun show.
Yeah, it's a fun show. It's really true to life, and the writing is just and we haven't seen it before. I don't think we've ever seen the inside of a stand-up comedian's life, like a Joan Rivers, how hard it is, and the way Gene delivers that stuff. That sounds like a Tuesday to me. I mean, come on. It's so good. It's so rich. So
you don't realize, I think, how much of their own lives that they put into their comedic scripts, and how they're taking their pain and things that they've been through and trying to make it somebody else's enjoyment. So that has to be kind of tough for them. But the way that they write it, the way that they're unfolding it in the series, I think it's ingenious. I love it.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. I mean, I just hope that our second season can live up to the greatness of the first season. But I'm sure if anybody can do it, they can.
So I'm glad you're going to be back.
I'll be back. Yep. Starting next month. Yeah.
Fantastic. Very good. Now, some of these other roles I've seen you in, you play a businessman. And I know that you're really big into, nonprofits. You do a lot of charity work, and specifically for cancer foundations, Make-A-Wish Foundation, which by the way, I love, and I know firsthand that Make-A-Wish does some amazing things because they've done some work for even people that I know. So kudos to you for that. Do you have any other passions outside of acting? Like, do you have a business on the side? Are you into anything specifically that you are growing out right now?
I have I've been offered to sell certain products, but if I don't really believe in it, then I can't really get behind it.
Yeah.
So I did respond when I'm a big lover of Napa Valley and Sonoma Valley wines, and they came with a chance to put this bottle out, and it's called Shooter's Pour. So it's a Cabernet red blend. It's really quite delicious. It's coming out. It's starting out right now, and I think by Christmas, I think there'll be big sales on it. Delicious. It's fun, and it's also kind of an inside joke about the 19th green, and bin 19 I called it. I wrote a little blurb on the back doing the shooter thing. And a lot of athletes do that kind of stuff. So I've been looking into that. I gave back to my college a great deal. They didn't have a really good theater, and that's what started. And I thought, you gotta give love back to a school that gave you so many breaks and open your. I mean, I was a farm kid basically. Come on, I lived in Romulus, New York, and you go to the school and get opened up to go to Europe and to see the theater over there and to see the history and all that stuff. And a lot of kids and people from my hometown in my class never really get that opportunity.
Yeah.
So I was approached by the college. They were doing this whole big campaign for this big building, and I funded the theater. So that's the philanthropy part of me, and I'm still paying on it, but it's beautiful. It is stunning, and it's a really gorgeous space and inside a gorgeous building, and it kind of gave my college a boost. It lifted up the people who were giving applications to it. It's a great sports school. They got that down. Great liberal arts education, really brilliant. But there was no real arts part. And so moving from the little theater that I worked in when I was there, 35 years ago, to go back and be like, whoa, this theater is amazing. And then look at the dance theater, and then look at the music department, and it's all in this big structure. And so that's a real honor to be part of that. I was able to give back, and I'm very grateful. But how did I do it? Through what my mother taught me in real estate. Mm-hmm. That's my side business. I have done very well on the side in real estate. I've rented them out. It's kind of a pain having tenants, but it's kind of nice when you get the right tenant.
Yeah.
My sister's in it. My brother's in it. My two brothers are into it. And
all of you in real estate. Yeah,
I do. I did real estate on the side. Basically, I buy the property, fix it up, and use it sometimes if I needed, my girls were going to a private school and I needed to live in, down in Santa Ana area. So we bought a place down there. And then after you're done using it, you just see, can I rent it or what's the better thing to do here? So I flipped it out and sold it and made up some money. And then I gave some of that to the colleges and it's all kind of a thing. I've done it in New York City with apartments a few times and
Wow.
it turned out really well. And that's the power of fearlessness of real estate investing I got from my mother. And
That's awesome.
I think it's like the one big thing they do in their lives. Like, okay, we got married, we got my house. That's a big thing. But if you know it's like the time value of money and all the other things, myriad things she taught me, I became fearless. And I was living in this penthouse in New York City that was unobstructed view of the Hudson River. I mean, Sully took his plane down right there on the Hudson, right in front of my apartment. It's like,
oh my goodness. Were you there when that happened? Were you home?
I wish I was there, but I know that's what it
I
was.
was like, wow, that would have been an amazing story.
That would have been, yeah.
So when you're doing, have you been back to the school? Did you do like a grand opening? Do you ever go visit the school?
Yes, well, funnily enough, it's not far from my hometown. So yes, I've been back many
Nice.
times. And the opening night of the whole place was spectacular. And I joined a thing called the Emerson Club, which are the people who give the most money back to the colleges. And it's just, these little schools need a lot of help because they don't get a lot of, it's a little fluctuating like this with the amount of attendance.
Yeah.
But it's, it helps that we have a great guy named Ali Marpet who played, right guard at our football team, which is a very good football team. And now he's protecting Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. So, and he's also got a Super Bowl ring already. So that kind of thing. People really respond to the sports and to the liberal arts education, but they never thought about the arts as much.
Yeah.
This has put a big leg up for the college. So that's
awesome.
a great feeling.
And then your name behind it, I'm sure that makes it all like.
Yeah. That's kind of cool.
And so with real estate, let's get on your entrepreneur side. Everything these days are coming into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. Are you into any of that?
Well, I gotta say that I know nothing about that, but I know I talked to friends. Like I bought one for $4,000. I think it's worth about 52,000. I went, yeah, but what is it? What is it? Now it's on college campuses. Mm-hmm. I think I missed the boat on that one. I don't do crypto because it's not based on anything that I understand.
Yeah.
So I stick with stuff that you can touch. It's tactile. It's
well, you didn't miss the boat, Christopher. You can actually jump on it if you wanted to know about it. But I was just wondering if that was something that you were, into or.
How about you? Are you into it?
No, I mean, I've heard about it. I heard about it in 2012. If I would have done it back then and bought even $100 worth, I'd be in some money right now.
Yeah, I hear you.
No, I'm like you, like I'm the opposite of you. So I'm very fearful. How you say you're fearless when it comes to making decisions and kind of getting out there. I'm a little bit more on the let me stick my toe in there and it's safe. So I'm not as daring as that. So no, I'm not really into it, but I know it's coming up right now and it's getting big. So just curious.
It's huge. I mean, I don't know. I wish I'd known more about it at the time, but then people get it and then it's worth this and it's worth that. And you have to watch that. And that's stressful. I got other things going on. So,
does that mean you're not into stocks either?
No, I have a very, very smart move I made. I went to a wealth management person. He does it as like he was spending his own money.
Oh, nice.
So he's he's one of my dearest friends now. And I've done very well with him. So
very good.
That's a smart move. If you don't know about it, go to somebody who does know about it. Give them a little, off the top. That's all good. But they will make your money grow. And this has been with them 25 years now. So it's all good.
Yeah, I'm learning that. I'm trying to open that space a little bit. So that's awesome.
It's a good call because if you want to defer it to somebody else who lives it,
you
want to do with things you do, other things in your life, you're just going to check it every few months and go, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very interesting world, but I learn as much as I need to learn, and then I leave it to the experts.
So. I love it. Yeah, they're filled. So I saw that you actually were in the Long Beach Grand Prix. You got to race in that. So how did that come about? And are you that fearless where you're going to race? But there are other drivers there? How did that go down? It's
a very interesting race. They just finished the 25th, I think, about 2 years ago. And every year they had major actors, Olympic athletes, really good type A personalities who really want to win. And I was talking to this publicist who's like, Chris, you really need a publicist. I said, yeah, no, I don't want to need to get on the talk shows. I've done it. It's fun, but I don't know. I don't really, she said, well, what would you like to do? And I said, well, as a matter of fact, I'd like to be in the Long Beach Grand Prix celebrity race. She said, let me work on that. Literally 4 hours later, she says, you're in. I said, what?
Wow.
She said, yeah, they love you. They think you're great. They had one guy fall out and you're going to replace him.
Wow.
And so I go there, I meet people, I having a great time. They train you for 4 weekends and you go, this is awesome. Driving fast. I happen to have a little leg up because I like to drive fast. And I have a brother-in-law, Mamo Gidley, who is a extremely good driver. He's a racer. He's been doing all the up and down. They had a big wreck and then he's back. He's winning again on the tour. So he gives me some heads up. I do a lot of intel, but nobody like my friend Dara Torres, the Olympic, multi-Olympic winner, a swimmer, was so competitive. I watched how she would work. Her mind is so focused. I was like, she's fast. And I finished behind her. I came in third place the first time. And then they asked me to come back again and I won.
Really?
What a feeling. Outside of giving birth to my 4 children, not that I gave birth, but having birth, 4 children, oh my God, this was a thrill to go around and with the waving on the hand, and me and Max Pappas, he's the pro, and we won, and it was, oh my God, what a thrill. So I just think it was because a publicist said, I can probably get that for you. And that's how I got into it. And the first day I got there, this guy's become a good friend of mine, Jim Kelly, Hall of Fame football player. And he's from my team in Buffalo, New York, Upstate New York boy. So I thought, oh my God, that's Jim Kelly sitting 3 down there. They're going around the room like this. And the guy says, hi, I'm Derek Torres. I'm an Olympic swimmer. And I just want to really glad to be here. Hi, I'm, Jojo, and all these people, great people. And he got to me and I went, hi, I'm Jim Kelly. Play a little football. And he looked over at me and go, you are such a jerk. And we laughed, crossing each other's pushes for a while. It was pretty funny. Yeah. So we became good friends. And I got to say, he's one of the strongest, most driven, most spiritual people I've ever met in my life. And he's my dear, dear friend. And we're going to Ireland together in June next year. So he's just great. Comes from a great family. He's had such major loss in his life. He's had physical problems through cancer and things like that in his bones. And he just gets back up and fights through it. And he's one of the reasons I fight for cancer so much, because it took 3 of my siblings. It took my father. It's in my blood. We want to find ways to get around it because it's got to stop. It's in the food we eat. It's in the air we breathe. It's just horrible. And so many families have been devastated by it. So
definitely
give as much as I can with all these programs we talked about earlier, but yeah.
Do you get checked regularly just to make sure, since it runs in your family so much?
I do. I do this, the executive checkup where they check everything. They give you, see what kind of, but well, you have a body of a 38-year-old. Yeah, that's last time I saw that, but changed. Anyway, it's very important to do that. I have my blood checked. I have my, any kind of markers that show up, we deal with at the time. And it's a big, it's a big thing, because once you're in it and people who don't get it checked, they find they've got stage 4, that's about as bad as it gets. So
right.
There are new miracle drugs coming out every day that have been sponsored by philanthropy and people backing up the research. And when I lost my little brother at the same time, 3 years later, they cured a little girl of it at a Duke University, and she's living to this day. That's the same thing he had with the glioblastoma. So,
wow.
And you go back, you see them go, and you're plucked out in the prime of their life, 2 small children, a beautiful wife. And it was just absolutely horrible and devastating. And you just kind of like, but he gives me a lot of strength. I know he's down there looking at me, and it shows me signs here and there. And I just, very, as tragic as it was, I feel like he's with me in spirit. So
absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, again, cancer is such a huge thing. My brother, who was 12 at the time, recovered from stage 5 brain cancer. And it's not something that you see very often. So, hitting close to home, you don't realize how much goes into that daily with the hospital treatments and being in there. It really does affect. So, I love that you are putting so much work. And 3 siblings, a parent, that's a lot that really hits close to home. So I can only imagine. I've only had to deal with it once. I couldn't imagine as much as you have. So with that, how do you keep your spirit so positive? Because it seems like you are, a person who looks at the positive side. I mean, look at your success. You have all of this. How do you stay that way? Are you a big reader? I mean, what do you do?
I have great friends and a brilliant family.
Mhm.
My wife is fantastic. We married 30 years,
Wow.
4 kids, a boy and 3 girls.
Mhm.
And that keeps me really solid. I am gainfully employed a lot. That gives me joy. And I just basically, we just got through Thanksgiving. I live in gratitude because I have exceeded my expectations in this great business of ours and the business of show. And I know there's places I could go higher, but at the same time, if it ended tomorrow, I feel like I still was blessed this whole time. I've had
Mm.
so many friends, the attrition of them falling to the right and left. Well, they sell real estate in Florida. They're selling Tupperware over there or whatever. It's hard. It's a very hard business. And I have a daughter who has, believe me, I would talk her out of it. I
Mhm.
would say do anything else but acting. And a lot of people say that's the first thing they say to these poor student classes. They go, "We want to be actors." Do anything else. It's the hardest job. But if she didn't have the
Really?
skills that she has, I
Mhm.
would say don't do it. But you can. You have to let her live her dream. And she's got real talent as a Broadway star. So I'm just hoping and praying she gets her break sooner or later. We did this book together. It's called The Artist's Way. It's
Mhm.
25 years old. I remember doing it 20 something years ago. And I did it together with her during the pandemic. And there's a lot of it's in-depth stuff, but it gives you such focus and such creativity if you can like tune into it. And then
Mhm.
you discuss it with the other person you're working with it on. And it happened to be my daughter. And I mean, it's life changing. It really is. So I just want her to keep that positive attitude, and she's got it in spades, which is great. And you can't let like my father said, you can't let the bastards get you down. So, and then it's just kind of an old school thing to say, but at the same time, I get what the thing is. Don't let anybody uh, tell you that you can't.
Mm.
And that's what I was going back to, that those friends of mine in high school. They say,
Yeah.
see you in 6 months.
Yeah.
It's as much as a motivator it is that you just have to work that much harder, be at the right place at the right time. And a lot of luck is involved. God knows.
Really.
But it's when you get to the stage where I've been in the last decade or so, where they know your work, they like your work, or they don't like your work. But when they like your work, they call you, and you don't have to audition anymore. And it's kind of like, how'd you like to come and play with us? It's like,
So
yeah,
are you at that stage where you don't have to audition anymore? You're
the
getting the calls
joy.
now?
It's it,
Yeah.
it's night and day. It is. It's a sign of their confidence in you as a performer, and
Mhm.
know that you'll bring your A game, and they've seen it in your history. And won't you come and play your game with us, so that we can lift this story up even higher? And that's a real good feeling.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
So your daughter, you have 4 kids, three
yeah.
girls and a boy. Is she the only one that's kind of following in your footsteps with the acting?
I so far the youngest one is 19. She's at Oxford in New
Oh,
England.
okay.
And she is first of all writing, but she is a Tasmanian devil when it comes to performing. She's fearless. She'll do anything. She'll do stuff that almost hurt herself because
Well,
she'll go and push the envelope that far. Her name's Ava, and she's a little rock star, and she's great. And then her older sister Rosie's the one that's in New York and trying to do the Broadway dance, which has been hard for the last year because no one's been doing it, but she's been taking lots of classes and doing that kind of stuff. So she loves it. And my daughter Hannah she's a businesswoman now. She's
oh.
very smart. She's got into her first big gig. She lives in Minnesota with her boyfriend. And then
Mhm.
my son, who's back at home, he's a millennial. What are you going to do? He's back at home in his own room.
Oh, I love,
God,
I'm sure that's great.
we're so glad to have him. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's just that he's just a great kid, and he's finding his way. He wants to find exactly. He's so smart. He
Mhm.
wants to find exactly what he wants to do, and he wants that door to open a crack, and then he gets his toe in, and then he'll be off the moon. So we're cherishing this time with him because we know it'll be gone in a blink.
Yeah, it
He'll never
happens
do
fast.
anything. Yeah.
Now, you guys grew or you raised them over by Big Bear. Was that on purpose? Did you kind of want to keep them out of the city and more in a smaller community because you were so busy traveling and acting? Was
Yes,
that
I didn't want them to grow up in Hollywood because, well, selfishly, I wanted them to have the same background I had
Mhm.
growing up, which was outside. The bell rings at, when it gets dark, and that means you have to come home. Go do things. You're on a lake, you're in the mountains, you can ski, you can ice skate, you can, hike, you can go on the boats, and it's just wonderful. So it's kind of like living in upstate New York, and it's only an hour and a half from LA.
Yeah.
So LA's a tough town. I mean,
Yeah.
it was good for me to get out because I wasn't like, really, who's casting? Really? Kind of like, yeah, I didn't want to live that way. So I just, it gives me some time to reflect and to embrace my family. I was a better father. I was on the road a lot, going back and forth to LA. I kept this office in town where I am right now, so that if I am working, I have a place to be. But I love it up there. It's beautiful, and it reminds me of how I grew up, and I think I wanted most of all to share that with them. And so
So
they've embraced it.
do you drive back and forth? Will you be driving back there tonight?
No, I'll stay here at my office, and
Oh,
my
okay.
office slash condo slash, it's pretty sweet.
Nice.
Yeah,
That makes it easier for sure.
make it easier. Yeah, sure. And then actually, they're coming down. We're going to dinner right after this. It'll be fantastic.
Oh, nice.
Now that you're telling me it's scary out there, what's happening? I'm like, yikes! Maybe we'll order in.
Seriously, all the stuff going on right now, it's insane.
Yeah.
So, Christopher, do you have a lot of friends in the business, or do you have more friends that are, around your neighborhood, because you do live in such a small town?
It's a very good question. I have an equal mix. I think I'm a kind of a strange thing. When you kind of bloom where you're planted in upstate in Northern California, where we have our house on the lake, most of our friends had kids with the same age as our kids. And so you'd see them, you'd have to see them. It's kind of like, oh, they're cool people.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting how many have stayed with us even after the kids have grown and gone, left the houses. So that's good. And then I have a lot of course, actor friends that grew up together, guys. We've sat in so many casting directors' offices over the years, and I've acted with many of them. And that's a very special bond goes on there because it's like a family.
Yeah.
But like I say, you could not see them in 3 years and then see them and like, boom, you're right back. And that's a good feeling.
So you kind of do, when you work with somebody, you meet them and then you stay in contact, you keep that friends.
Yeah, it's not easy because people get so busy.
Yeah.
It's like, I'd love to, but I'm in New York now doing this play for the next 6 months. And then you kind of fall off the map and you're not out here going to whatever events and stuff that were going on, or going over their houses, even hanging out. But then when they come, you get the chance to meet them, and you get to catch up on all the things they've been doing, all the things you've been doing, and just go, ain't we lucky? Because it's a crazy life, and it's never the same, and it is challenging as you can imagine. And the ups are really up, and the downs are really down. Critics saying terrible things about you just because they don't like this particular thing. But you never can let it. It has to be water up like a duck's back.
Yeah.
Because they've been kind to me over the years, which is good. But I've seen some devastating reviews on people, and that's kind of hard. But that's when you throw your arm around your buddy and go, "Hey, what do they know? Come on." Critics, if they could do it, they would. They can't, so they critique.
No, I read somewhere that you were one of the very first few actors that worked with, I believe it was Cindy Crawford when she first came out. Is that true?
First big job, yeah.
Her first big job.
Yeah, she was hard to look at. She
What?
just one of the most stunning women in the world, and couldn't be sweeter. Couldn't be
really.
Yeah. So
now, did you guys stay friends? Do you still see her out and about? She's not doing too much these days.
No, but she's doing a big business stuff. But she and her husband and kids are on the East Coast. I'm mostly on the West Coast. That's one that if I saw her, I'd have to, she'd go, "What? I haven't seen you in ages." And I'll get out because she's one of the cool people of the world. That happens a lot though, when people work all over the world and you don't see them for 6, 8 years, then whoa. And then you just happen to be in the same room or same restaurant and stuff, like, are you kidding me? And then it's like old times. So that's just a joy. Really great.
Now, you are a golfer. Do you golf often?
I do. I have a country club, Oh yeah, sure. Babe, I'll be down at the club. Or the gun club. I can't tell which.
Are you part of the club? Do you golf like that?
I do. I go down the country club all the time, and I don't play as much because it does snow there, but I get offers to play golf all the time. And
sure.
I was very good at one time, and I must say the game has gotten a little bit rusty because I've been so busy working, and people understand that. But I'm fun on the golf course because I got a lot of stories, and every once in a while I'll have that shot and you go, wow, I love this game. It's so hard and so frustrating. Then you have that one dead solid perfect shot where you barely swung the ball and it's going and going and going and going and going. It's going down the middle, pretty nice. Wow. It's a great game, and it keeps you outside and keeps you really close bonding with the guys you're playing with, and it's a fun experience.
I have Steven Romero from Facebook who said to tell you to come to Braemar on him.
That's a great track, that Braemar. Oh my God. Might have to do that one of these days.
And then I have a couple other questions. I just want to get them out from some of our viewers. So I have Diana who wanted to know if you've ever been told to change your looks to get a role, hair color, gain weight, lose weight, anything like that.
Oh, many times. The biggest one I can remember is I had to replace an actor. I was doing a movie called Celtic Pride in Boston. And it was cool to be back there since that's where I started as an actor. And I was working with really great actors, Danny Aykroyd and Daniel Stern, and just having a blast. And the executives came from Disney and said, would you finish this and go up there? And by the way, can you gain 30 pounds?
Oh, wow.
I said, 30 pounds? And how? So they had to give me a fat suit. And then I had to keep eating it because the fat suit's down around your labanza, but up here didn't look fat.
Right.
It was kind of like the fat man. He was like that kind of guy. And I did it, and it was hard. And then I had to lose the weight, which is harder. Right. So that's no fun. But I've been the kind of guy I'm fearless when it comes to stuff. I've been bald, I've been blonde, I've been gray, I've been green. I've been my own hair color a few times. I've gotten really thin for a part once, but I didn't like that at all because I had no energy. Yeah. So that was a play. And then I was a drug addict. Kids. Happens. Whoa. Yeah. And then yeah, they ask you to do, because I'm a character actor. I'm happy to do it. I like to embrace that stuff. There's a movie out right now called the Gucci life.
Oh yeah, House of Gucci.
House of Gucci, and Jared Leto. And
oh my gosh, did you watch it?
It's unbelievable. What a transformation! But he has professionals doing his hair and all that stuff. But I didn't know it was him, and I've worked with him.
Oh my gosh, no!
A dream. I was like, oh my God.
I had to look and I had to pull up the cast. I mean, that is amazing.
It's extraordinary what he did. Their whole team did. They just, transformed him. That's so much fun as an actor. Then you just basically have carte blanche to really kind of like be so different from what you are. And that's one of the joys of being an actor and one of the challenges of being it, especially if it's a well-known person, but we didn't really know who that person was. That's why it was so much fun for him to do. Yeah. So he's just on a tear right now. It's fantastic.
It was so good. And then I have Maureen Cody wanting to know, well, actually, she says, you have great hair. And do all the men in your family have the same genes, or are you just the lucky one?
Oh, for sure. My mother was an extraordinary person. And she decided between her third child and her fourth child, which would be me, she would go on a health kick. So she, when you drink too much orange juice, carrot juice, your hands turn a little orange. It was like that for her, apparently. Her hair was just red as red could be and thick. Wow. Especially when she was doing this thing. So she was in ridiculously great shape. And then she had me, and I am the tallest in my family. Wow. Have the best hair. Really? I don't know what it is. I think that was a big part of my hair strength is because of her being taking care of herself like that. But yeah, everybody in my family's got really pretty good hair, but I got nice hair though, and I'm grateful. It's not there's no holes anywhere. If it happened, you embrace it and go on. It's a little thing, but at the same time, it feels good to hear that. Thank you, whoever wrote that in.
That was Maureen. And then I have Bryant Carmenero wanting to know if you have any future Star Trek appearances coming out.
Boy, wouldn't that be fun? I had so much fun doing that. I'll tell you a quick story about that. I'm playing Biff in the classic, Death of a Salesman, the son who goes out and he's going to be the football hero is coming back. And I'm doing it with great actors. and I auditioned for this part on Star Trek: The Next Generation. The guy's name is his name is Ricardo Castillo. And I look at all the guys that are in the room to audition for us. I'm going, you can't wash the Irish off my face. What the hell? I mean, what? How am I supposed to go in there? But I remember what Stella said. She said, okay, just go in and show them what you have, what you can do, don't give them what you think they want. Give them what you have, what you can bring to it. And the director went, oh, that was kind of amazing. I leave, I say, thank you. I leave, I come back. I'm getting my car going back to try to make the theater that night because I was auditioning for this thing. And I get the call, like, you got it. I got it. Yeah, but the car, his name's Ricardo Castillo. No, they're just changing the name. He'll be fine. It's good. So I went, woo, good. So that happened to be a massively successful episode. David Carson was the director, and he went on to have great success in that whole Star Trek world. That's the only one I ever did. I thought great chemistry with Tasha Yar. My God, fantastic. And then I always wanted to do more. I thought it was great fun, but no, the stars didn't line up there, as it were. So perhaps in the future, I'll have another chance. I really enjoyed doing it.
Well, Christopher, I just want to thank you for spending your evening with us. I know that you have a lot of stuff in the works right now. Is there anything you can share with us that we can look out for that you're working on that's coming up soon?
Soon is a relatively difficult term because it takes so long to make these things. I'm doing a show right now in New York called The Watcher, which is based on a true story, Ryan Murphy Productions for Netflix. It's so interesting. It's a true story where these people buy this house out of New York City and they live in New Jersey. It's like her dream house, to be perfect. And then they start getting these crazy letters saying like, hey, start really kind of freaking them out. I'm glad you have young children in your house. Tell me which rooms they're in. And I'm the detective, and there's no way that they ever solve this. So but the way Ryan Murphy's the team is doing this, you don't know who the Watcher is. It could be any one of these characters that are in it. I'm working with Jennifer Coolidge, and I'm working with Naomi Watts and Bobby Cannavale, and oh my God, there's so many great actors in this. Margot Martindale, oh my God. Anyway, we're having a great time. It's hard work, but I'm having a blast. Plus, I get to go back to New York, and I love that. Yeah. And I have Hacks is coming up, as you know. We're starting that very soon. And then I'm going to do a little secret thing over in Europe.
Okay. What is that one?
I can't talk about it, but it's the Marvel. It's the Marvel.
Okay. Film. I was wondering. I was going to touch on that. I didn't think you would say anything about it, but that is a secret. I'm going to
secret, and I can't say anything. I signed this little NDB that I can't do that.
I'm excited about that one. I am.
Me too.
So, if you guys want to know what we're talking about, Google him. Do your research, okay? There's some great stuff coming out, guys. Christopher, thank you so much for your time. Again, I appreciate you spending your evening with us here at Girls Night Live. We would love to have you back if that's something that you would be open to.
Sure.
We'd love to have you back. But thank you,
Lucee, for everything. It's a blast.
Thank you for sharing. Appreciate you. You guys have a good evening. Thank you all.
Thank you all for watching.